Hey everyone, and welcome back to RookieDev, where we break down game design concepts to help you create better games. I'm Rook, and today we're diving into one of the core distinctions in gameplay mechanics: action versus strategy. Understanding these mechanics can help you design better player experiences, whether you want a fast-paced adrenaline rush or a deep thinking challenge. But what exactly defines these mechanics and how can you blend them effectively? Let's break it down. Let's start with action mechanics. These are fast, reactive, and often require real-time decision-making. In action-oriented games, players must constantly respond to challenges as they happen, relying on reflexes, timing, and muscle memory. Think of a game like Hollow Knight. When you dash away from an enemy's attack or time a jump perfectly over spikes, you're making split-second decisions based on visual cues and muscle memory. There's no time to stop and plan. You're constantly engaged in the moment. This is what makes action mechanics so thrilling. They could create tension, a sense of urgency, and a deep satisfaction when mastered through skillful play. One key aspect of action mechanics is immediate feedback. When you press jump, Mario instantly reacts. If you time it right, you land safely. If you miss, you fall. This tight feedback loop keeps players engaged and helps them learn through experience. Immediate feedback is what makes combat-heavy games like Doom or Devil May Cry feel so satisfying. The impact of every shot, dodge, or attack is felt instantly, creating a rhythm that keeps the player immersed. But not all games are about lightning-fast reflexes. Now, let's shift to strategy mechanics. Instead of reacting in the moment, these games emphasize planning, resource management, and long-term thinking. Strategy mechanics give players time to consider their options and weigh risks versus rewards. A great example is Civilization 6. Instead of making snap decisions, you're carefully planning your next move. Should you expand your empire, negotiate with rival leaders, or focus on technology? Every choice has consequences, but those consequences may not be felt immediately. Unlike action mechanics, strategy mechanics rely on delayed feedback. The effects of your choices often aren't seen until later. This is what makes strategy games rewarding. Success comes from seeing a plan unfold over time and adapting to unexpected challenges. Take XCOM, for instance. Every move in a turn-based battle can mean the difference between victory and disaster. Since you can't rely on quick reflexes, you have to think ahead and anticipate enemy movements. One wrong decision can lead to losing a squad member permanently, forcing you to adjust your tactics. So, action mechanics test execution and reflexes, while strategy mechanics test planning and decision-making. But what happens when you mix the two? Mixing action and strategy isn't easy. Lean too much on action and the game feels chaotic. Too much strategy and it can become slow. The best games find the balance that enhances the experience. A great example of this is Monster Hunter World. Combat demands precise timing, dodging, and knowledge of enemy attack patterns. But it also requires careful preparation, choosing the right gear, managing stamina, and using traps or environmental hazards to gain an advantage. Do you charge in with brute force, or do you track your target, set up ambushes, and strike at the right moment? The balance between action-packed combat and strategic planning makes the gameplay feel deeply rewarding and immersive. Another great example is Dark Souls. At first glance, it looks like an action game. Combat is fast, intense, and punishing. But if you play it like a mindless hack and slash, you won't last long. Dark Souls forces you to think strategically. You have to consider enemy attack patterns, manage your stamina, and decide when to attack or retreat. Every action has weight, and reckless aggression often leads to failure. So, what's the takeaway for game designers? Here are 3 key things to consider when designing your own mechanics. Pacing. Decide if you want fast reflex-based gameplay, slow and methodical strategy, or a blend of both. The pacing of your game will determine the intensity of player engagement. Feedback: immediate for action mechanics, delayed for strategy. How will player know if they made the right choice? Clear and effective feedback is essential for engagement. Player agency: action mechanics test execution, while strategy mechanics test decision making. Which skill do you want to challenge in your players? The balance of skill and planning will define the player experience. Which style do you prefer? Do you love the thrill of fast action, or do you enjoy outthinking your opponents? Or maybe a mix of both? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into game design. Thanks for watching RookieDev, and I'll see you in the next video.